Open the machine's door. Disconnect the electrical power from the machine. Turn off the water supply. Disconnect the water supply hoses. Remove the front panel. Remove the rear panel. Remove the door lock cover. Remove the L catch. Remove the nuts and washers from the door lock plate, and remove the door lock cover and shim from the shell front. Using a permanent marker, mark the location of the shell front in relation to the shell. This mark will be used during reassembly to ensure that the door is level. Using a permanent marker, mark the location of the shell band and bolt where they meet the shell. Remove the corner brace. Remove the door. Remove the shims and bezel. Remove the lower brace. Loosen the shell band. Remove the shell band. Remove the shell band gasket. Remove the belt. Remove the bolt and washer from the end of the basket shaft. Remove the basket pulley from the basket shaft using an F460131 basket pulley puller tool and an F460129 basket puller tool. Place the F460131 basket pulley puller tool behind the pulley as needed. Insert the bolt into the basket pulley. Drill a small hole into the bolt to use as a guide for the basket puller tool. Attach the arms of the F460129 basket puller tool to the inside of the F460131 basket pulley puller tool or frame and align the center screw. Tighten the center screw, which will pull the pulley off the basket shaft. Mount the F460129 basket puller tool arms against the inside of the frame and align the center screw. Use the F460131 basket pulley puller tool as needed. Tighten the center screw, which will push the basket forward. Remove the basket from the shell. Remove the key from the basket shaft. Remove the trunnion mounting bolts, nuts, and washers. 2 people are required to remove the trunnion mounting bolts. 1 person to hold the bolt's head, and 1 to turn the nut. Insert 3 bolts into the 3 trunnion removal holes. Torque the bolts evenly in a cross pattern to force the trunnion from the frame. Remove the trunnion assembly from the machine. If the basket doesn't slide through the trunnion easily during removal, remove the trunnion from the machine before the basket is removed. Heat the trunnion mounting nuts with a torch and remove them from the bolts with an impact wrench.
Okay.
If the nuts can't be removed, cut off the trunnion mounting bolts. Insert 3 bolts into the 3 trunnion removal holes. Torque the bolts evenly in a cross pattern to force the trunnion from the frame. If it is difficult to remove the trunnion from the basket shaft, remove it using puller tool F460129. Remove the basket from the shell. Remove the key from the basket shaft. After the basket and trunnion have been removed, inspect the back of the shell to make sure it was not bent during the basket and trunnion removal. Inspect the basket shaft for excessive wear. Replace the basket if necessary. Remove any burrs from the basket shaft with a fine emery cloth, which is 400 to 600 grit. Clean the shaft with a clean rag that has been dipped in solvent. Apply a film of WD-40 to the basket shaft. Scrape the old sealant off of the shell back. Clean the shell back with soap and water as needed. Wipe the shell back with denatured alcohol and allow the area to dry. Inspect the shaft seal sleeve for excessive wear. Replace it if necessary. If the basket isn't being replaced, replace the sleeve. Refer to the parts manual for sleeve part numbers. Remove the sleeve from the basket shaft by cutting it off. Remove any burrs from the basket shaft with a fine emery cloth, which is 400 to 600 grit. Clean the shaft with a clean rag that has been dipped in solvent. To install the sleeve onto the basket shaft, first heat the sleeve evenly to between 400 and 500 degrees Fahrenheit using a hot plate or toaster oven. Apply F410102 RTV sealant to the shell back where the trunnion will be installed. The amount applied should be sufficient to seal the trunnion without causing excess sealant to contaminate the main seals. Apply grease to the trunnion seal, especially on the lead-in portion and lip cavities. Apply Loctite to the bearing's inner races. Clean the 6 new screws supplied with the kit with denatured alcohol and wipe them dry. Using applicator F704549, apply a 1/8 inch bead of F704547 3M DP460 epoxy to each screw around the entire screw shank, 1/2 inch above the screw's head. From the inside of the shell, insert the screws into the shell back and into the frame's bearing plate. The epoxy should expand 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch from the screw's head when it is pressed flush against the shell back. Prevent epoxy from dripping into the seal area. With the trunnion's weep hole facing downward, mount the trunnion onto the frame over the screws that have been inserted into the shell back. Place the new flat washers that are supplied with the kit onto the screws. 2 people are required to install the trunnion mounting bolts, 1 person to hold the bolt head, and 1 to turn the nut. Torque the nuts alternately in a crisscross pattern and in even increments onto the screws. For 18 through 25 pound capacity machines, torque the nuts to 75 foot-pounds. For 27 through 60 pound capacity machines, torque the nuts to 105 foot-pounds. Attach the basket guide cone 396P4 for 18 through 25 pound capacity machines, 397P4 for 27 through 40 pound capacity machines, or 398P4 for 50 and 60 pound capacity machines onto the basket installation tool rod 401P4. Attach the basket guide cone and rod assembly to the basket shaft. Guide the insertion tool and shaft through the trunnion assembly. Avoid contact with the seal lips. Remove the basket insertion tool. It may be necessary to use the basket puller tool F798001 for 18 through 25 pound capacity machines, F798002 for 27 through 40 pound capacity machines, or F798003 for 50 and 60 pound capacity machines to fully pull in the basket. Reinstall the key into the basket shaft. Reinstall the basket pulley. When reinstalling the basket pulley, a new washer and screw, which are included with the kit, should be used. Reinstall the belt. Check the pulley alignment. Refer to the Operation Maintenance Manual supplied with the machine for alignment specifications. Check the belt tension. Refer to the Operation Maintenance Manual supplied with the machine for tension specifications. Install the new shell band gasket F2000001600, which is supplied with the kit, around the shell seat. Add RTV sealant as needed to fill uneven spaces. Reposition the shell band Position the shell front onto the shell and use clamps to hold it in place during installation. Reinstall the shell band with the new hardware. The shell band screw should be in the 11 o'clock position or in the position marked during the shell band's removal. As the shell band is being tightened, tap it periodically with a rubber hammer. Reinstall the front panel brace. Reinstall the bezel and shims. Reinstall the door. Reinstall the corner brace. Check the basket front to shell front centering alignment at the 3, 6, 9, and 12 o'clock positions. The basket centering should be evenly spaced and should not vary by more than 1/8 of an inch. If the alignment is off at the 12 o'clock position, remove 1 or 2 shell mounting washers from each side of the shell. If the alignment is off at the 6 o'clock position, add 1 or 2 shell mounting washers to each side of the shell. If the alignment is off at the 3 or the 9 o'clock positions, adjust the shell to the right or the left as needed. Set the shell to basket gap. The gap should be between 3/16 of an inch and 3/8 of an inch. To decrease the gap, tap the inside of the basket toward the shell with a rubber mallet. Do not distort the shell front, as this may cause door seal leaks. Apply RTV sealant around the shell front screw holes. Reinstall the door lock assembly. Reinstall the L catch. Reinstall the door lock cover. Reinstall the front panel. Reinstall the rear panel. Reconnect the water supply hoses. Turn on the water supply and reconnect the machine's power supply. Run the machine through a test cycle. Excessive play, looseness, or noise may indicate improper parts or assembly. Verify that water is not leaking at the trunnion bolt locations or at the shell band seal. Verify that the door lock operates properly. Refer to the operation maintenance manual supplied with the machine for instructions on door lock testing.